Hey everyone and welcome. In this video we look at more evidence the once conservative Tories are no more. They've gone, a distant memory.
And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration. I now have lost all confidence in either of the two main parties. I never had any confidence in the third.
What we're left with is this cowardly bunch of half-wits and socialist globalist simps. Now, I know we all voted for the Tories to stop Marxism and to regain our dignity from the EU, but I think we were duped. This Tory government seemed to bend to the left and to the mob. This is not the strong, proud Tory government we voted for, is it? This story is on the ITV news site and it's titled, "The Dreaded Lurgy, Pay Rise Announced for Almost 900,000 Public Sector Workers." Public sector workers on the front line of dealing with the lurgy pandemic will be given a pay rise, the Chancellor has announced. Now, as you can see, the establishment are making sure the establishment don't lose any jobs while we, the common people, join the dole queue. This, in my opinion, is the same stupidity that the dreaded Corbynov would have done to fix the economy crashes, i.e. throw other people's money at it hand over fist. This on the back of a furlough scheme that's turned out to be just like we suggested at the beginning, i.e. just delayed layoffs and closures of companies. It's not stopped it in any way, it's just delayed it a little bit longer. We've all seen the job losses starting to come in now. Wait till everyone's back. You will see mass cutbacks from big companies, i.e. downsize the workforce. I pretty much guarantee most, if not all, will be forced to downsize, at least until all the supply lines are re-established. The small companies don't have that luxury, do they? I.e. numbers of staff, they won't be able to downsize. To them, downsizing will just mean closing the business. If the workforce goes down, which it will, the tax income will go down too, which means the ones lucky enough to keep a job will find they are taking the load of all of this spending of moolah. We don't have it and won't for some time. Seems all our MPs think the same as SNP, and that is that England has a bloody money tree. As you can tell, I'm dead against this, and the article will show you why. Let's read, shall we? Doctors, teachers and police officers are among those who will see extra money in their pay packet after a challenging few months since lurgy hit the UK. More than 300 NHS workers have died in England alone after contracting the deadly virus, many doing so while caring for patients. Others to continue working include teachers looking after the children of key workers throughout the lockdown and police who have been enforcing social distancing rules. I would actually state at that point, all teachers are getting a pay rise is what they're talking about. It's not about just the ones that would actually working, it's the ones that weren't doing a thing as well. Throughout the lockdown, and police who have been enforcing social distancing rules. Really? Very badly? You mean the ones that have been flying drones over the Lake District and stuff like that? Okay. Which is their sternest forbade leaving the house except for specified circumstances. However, the pay rise does not include cover nurses and healthcare assistants who are among more than 1 million NHS workers covered by a 3-year pay deal agreed in 2018. So they've already had a pay rise. Seeking to explain this, Policing Minister, why is the Policing Minister saying anything? Kit Malthouse told ITV News nurses are subject to a separate pay deal that was negotiated back in 2018 called Agenda for Change, which has seen significant change in starting salaries and other salaries, and I think on average it's a 4.4% pay deal. They're in the middle of that, and no doubt the Department of Health will be talking to them about what happens in the future when the time is appropriate. The above inflation pay rise announced on Tuesday will see almost 900,000 workers benefit. Teachers and doctors will see the largest increase at 3.1% and 2.8% respectively, according to the Treasury. So shall we have a look at the breakdown of the public sector professions that are getting a pay rise, shall we? So first up we've got school teachers. They'll get a 3.1% pay rise, even though most didn't work or provide homework online like they said they would. Then you've got doctors and dentists. They'll get a 2.8% pay rise. My doctor's shut and dentists only did extreme emergency work, and the doctors in the NHS seem more intent on dancing routines than it was on anything else. Next up, we've got police officers who'll get a 2.5% pay rise, because it costs money to kneel and run and appease, doesn't it? Oh, and police, the old naughty words, must cost a fortune. Armed forces will get a 2% pay rise. This is the only one I agree with in this list. Pay for military has always been abhorrent to me. These men and women lay their lives on the line on a daily basis. They should get a lot more for that honour. But what say you on that one? Next up is National Crime Agency. They'll get a 2.5% pay rise. Must cost money to be totally inadequate, eh? Next will be prison officers. They'll get a 2.5% rise. Now, on this one, I can't really comment. I'm not sure how much prison officers get. Ex-Army Paz, if you're there, mate, and you're watching, let me know. If any of you don't know who Ex-Army Paz is, go and check out his channel. You will find a link in the description. Go and sub him up. He's our man on our side. Everyone, well worth you pressing the button. Next up, we've got judiciary. Now, they'll get a 2% pay rise. Obviously, they need to be rewarded, don't they, for trying to stop Brexit and allowing criminal illegals to stay indefinitely due to appeals, etc. Oh, and has totally put the UK in danger by allowing jihadis back after fighting against us. So they're getting a pay rise. Next up is senior civil servants. They'll get a 2% pay rise. Like these cockwombles don't get enough already. These fools have been actively working against the civilians they're supposed to protect for years, and they're getting a pay rise. Next up, senior military. They'll get a 2% pay rise. Same as above on the other military. They're massively underpaid. Whether the senior military are or not, I couldn't tell you, so I won't give you my opinion on that. Now, all of the above are not good enough to get pay rises, in my opinion, over others. And it's ridiculous to suggest it at a time when most of the country is heading for recession. Why these sectors and not, say, I don't know, taxi drivers, firemen, delivery drivers, shop workers, supermarket staff? Is this not heading for discrimination cases all over? And also, more money being forced into payouts for people I don't think deserve it more than others. Now, I'm not saying they don't deserve pay rises, but not just because they worked during the lurga. I don't think that's justification enough. Nobody forces you into a job in the UK. You chose the job at the pay you chose it. And that is even if I was a nutted socialist that thought money can be printed. Let's continue the story, shall we? Making the announcement, Chancellor Rishi Sunak said these past months have underlined what we always knew, that our public sector workers make a vital contribution to our country and that we can rely on them when we need them. You can rely on all the workforce when you need them. This is just elitism, isn't it? We'll pay the elite ones, but everyone else, I'm sorry you lost your job and all that, but there's a dole queue for you. It's right, therefore, that we follow the recommendations of the independent pay bodies with this set of real-term pay rises. Each award is recommended by independent pay review bodies, and this year the government has accepted the suggested rise for each workforce. Independent pay review bodies screams to me left-wing activism. Does it to you? Because it does with me. Police, prison officers and National Crime Agency staff will be given 2%. Meanwhile, members of the judiciary and senior civil servants, who already get paid a fortune, will also see their pay topped up. Completely undeserved, in my opinion. The pay awards for the armed forces, prison officers, senior civil servants and NHS staff will be backdated to April. So they're getting a massive paid chunk as well. What about the other people that have worked? Why is it just them? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? The pay rise for police and teachers starts in September, even though teachers are refusing to go back to school and to let your kids go back to school. Yeah, we're rewarding them for that. Remember that when we continue reading. Starts in September due to those professions operating on a different pay schedule running from September to August. Labour Shadow Chancellor Annalise Dodds said the pay rise was good news but claimed it would not make up for a decade of real terms pay cuts. Wow. So it's a good start. You see what I mean about the Tories becoming socialist? It's like, we'll appease the socialists and then they're going to turn around and say, well, why are you asking for more? Well, appeasement, muppets. Oh, wow. We need a third party and we need one that are just going to do what they say they're going to do and not turn into a completely different party as soon as they get into power, even with an 80-seat majority. TUC General Secretary Francis O'Grady called for social care workers to join the ranks of those being offered a pay rise. Where do they think this money is coming from? Of course, we know where they think it's coming from. Us, the working class payers of taxes. That's where it's going to come from. These riches are welcome, but not anymore, because most of us are going to be out of work, aren't we? While these are protected with a big chunk of payout. Lovely jubbly. Doesn't make you feel very appreciated, does it, everyone? These rises are welcome, but there's still a long way to go to restore pay after a decade of real-term cuts, she said. Many public sector workers, like job centre staff and local government workers, aren't getting these rises. Have you noticed how it's very specific and selective on who they say needs rises? Job centre staff. Wonder why that is. Local government workers. Wonder why a Labour person wants local government workers to be paid more. Very interesting question. Miss O'Grady added, the government should urgently announce a pay rise for social care workers. Policing Minister Kit Malthouse said social care workers would have to rely on increases in the minimum wage to improve their pay levels. Mr Malthouse said the vast majority of social care workers are paid in the private sector, so our ability to influence pay rates there is limited. So they want a pay rise for someone that doesn't get paid from the government. Okay, if it's private, get it off their coffers, O'Grady, not the tax. He told BBC Radio 4's Today programme that apart from nationalising the entire thing, the minimum wage rate was the best tool the government had to recognise the efforts of care workers. And there you have it. Because it's a private service, the private company, it does pay levels, not the government. But Labour, who should know that already, obviously, because the politicians completely miss that fact. And they want us to pay for private sector pay rises. Are you kidding me? This is just buying the country. This is state-run. This is by the back door state-run everything's, is it not? Well, we know what that comes from, don't we? We know what ideology that comes from. Now, what's my opinion on this? Well, it's just the state protecting the state, but with our dollar, isn't it? Who pays for all this stupidity? Well, the taxpayer, of course. I'd like to, at this point, call for a review in just how much the Tories want to conserve anything now. And if, like I suspect, it comes back as zero, we should force them to retitle themselves as the not-so-lefty left Soy Cook Boy Party. And have done with it, shall we? But what say you? Let me know. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe. See you soon. Write a comment. Do the sharing, you bunch of deplorables. Stay safe and I'll see you on the next one.